In chapter 328, Ego calls upon Asagi for a chat after a successful match 4-0 against Nigeria. No complaints about such a flawless victory, right? But tension over Asagi's decision to snag another goal when victory was already assured brings thoughts of doubt when it comes to our protagonist's usual logical aptitudes. Too many risky moves could cause unrest among your teammates. Don't prioritize methods you can't reproduce. These words came directly from Ego, Asagi's coach, as we obviously know. Rational explanation, yes, but logic is a tool to be used. Risk and emotions can be the triumphant pieces that are required for success and potential security, as seen with other players that utilize that specific logic. That's my take on it, of course, though. The nuance of logical solution is more complex than absolute clarity, and this is further proven by Isagi when he says this. I get that, but coach, I feel like I'm about to find the theory that'll help me reach Noel Noah. Your soccer isn't enough for me anymore. Two people with the same goal of winning, yet one draws precaution around risk while the other accepts it. So suggesting that they, in this case Asagi, believes stakes and disarray are required to reach a 100% winning solution. Now, I haven't addressed the topic, I know, or at least not clearly, but I wanted to get half the slide out of the way. Ego and Asagi are not the same, and by that I mean, Ego is not a talented learner, as what many might assume, according to Asagi's flowchart. Anyway, this was just the first interaction between Asagi and Ego within this chapter, so why is it so important? Because it gives us clues. Asagi and Ego have been compared several times, markedly by Snuffy and Noel Noah, reputable sources of Ego's football history, since we obviously have barely any clue as to who he was in the past. I mean, seriously, who names their child Ego? I know that's not canon. So when the tension of Isagi's ideals clash against Ego's and is directly followed by the most obvious red herring of all time, the duality between the two and their similarities begs the question, are Asagi and Ego the same, or polar opposites? Asagi explains the concept of talented learners and geniuses to Ego, which in short describes people that play on instinct and prioritize a stereotypical self-centered egotistical viewpoint, the geniuses, and players with a more altruistic ego that play football with logic, using reason to navigate the chaos, while desiring self-serving prizes that the world values. Of course, the geniuses disregard these worldviews and often disregard logic. After this explanation, Ego says, do you believe in a god of soccer? Which is pretty crazy for someone that's usually considered logical. Now, I'd be crazy if this was my final piece of evidence without any else backing it for why Ego isn't a talented learner. But Ego goes on to explain that when he was still playing, he came across a phenomena where for 7 minutes of a play, he felt a level of ecstasy and total enthrallment, totally different to the concept of flow as he describes. A moment in time where everything felt like it would go his way no matter what. Now obviously if we read, y'all JJK fans wouldn't understand, but if we read, it describes this event as if it was the first time that it's ever happened, because he never felt that feeling ever before or since. Ego asks if he ever experienced something like that to Asagi, but when Asagi gives his response, Ego says, maybe so. Now, let's put our cards on the table to get the answer on if Ego is a genius or not. 1. Ego's primary theories are flow, luck, and the evolution theory. Ego states he only developed flow and luck after the trance, after he failed to get the god back on his side, which could contribute to him being more like Rin, a genius who stifled his primary talents. One of the issues with that would be he did discover these all on his own, quote unquote, when flow obviously was discovered by somebody else, but he did discover these quote unquote all on his own, but before that there's no signs of him actually creating something like this. Now, he didn't say the evolution theory, but this also could have been figured out directly after the encounter. Now, the second one is Ego's philosophies are no longer enough for an upcoming soccer player known for his reputation as a talented learner, that being Isagi. Ego's philosophies are no longer matching up with Isagi's. Now, I had 4 pieces, right? But where's 3 and 4? Yeah, a theory wouldn't just be something that's even slightly correct if we didn't have some retrospect. Okay, there's holes we need to address. Because while piece 3 can't put this theory into a gray area, piece 4 could prove it altogether. Now let's go on to piece 3, the evolution theory. I'm really not going to overanalyze the evolution theory. Ego describes evolution and basically builds the talented learner and genius theory Isagi does. This weird telepathy mind game kind of bumps the theory because Isagi's coming up with this as a talented learner at the same time Ego explains it. Well, it kind of just shuts down the theory, and even if it doesn't, this feels weird, no? But we still have piece 4. Nagi is the genius. He's fallen from grace due to a lack of motivation to continue, which is much like how Ego gave up on soccer after he realized the mystical force, plot armor, decided he wasn't MC anymore, wasn't protagonist material. Many times does Ego trash on Nagi's talents, even when justified, but nobody's been batted more by Ego than Nagi. I feel like this, in a sense, is just Ego projecting because it's a similar case to him. And I also reckon that having decades to come up with luck, flow, and the evolution theory can be given credit to anyone regardless of if they're a genius or learner. If I've been in the game getting my coach knowledge up for decades, and I feel like I'd get to this even if I wasn't a talented learner. You know, these are the same species after all. Anyway, chapter review over. Let me know what you think though. I'm way too exhausted for any more retakes.